Okay, I am here for Bash. Let's get into it. Share my screen here and get started with Bash. Always love doing things in Bash. I forget where I left off, but probably somewhere doing containers or scripts or configurations. Not sure where I left off here, but we'll find out. Let's go into Bash. Assimilate. No, it looks like I have a Bash template. That might be what I'm doing here. Let's see. This looks like potentially what I was doing to. Yeah, let's use this. So let's go to code spaces. Perfect. Now let's dive right into this. All right. So here we have our Bash environment. And if I remember correctly, if I go to this README file, and I just close the things I'm not using here, that we should see like a hello world here. This is good. We have some phrases here. That was good. This is a command line tool here. I guess one thing that would be kind of worthwhile to do today is to show how easy it is to package something like this into a container. And there's a couple different ways we could do this. So that's probably a good lesson for today. I'll do, we can say in the future, maybe like we can put lesson ideas maybe down here. We can do lesson ideas. Let's throw that build system. Let's put that to the back burner. Let's get into this lesson, which is how to configure Docker files for Bash scripts. So this is kind of a fun one because once you build out a Bash script, you actually have tons of different ideas for building things. So I'm going to start off with something that I call the tiny container first. And so I'm going to say make their like tiny CLI. How about that? And then inside of here, what I'm going to do is make a Docker file like that. So inside the tiny CLI here, what we could do is actually figure out like what kind of Docker file to build. Now, I want to just double check that I've got all my goodies here. Let's look at this. Reload required. Okay, so I had to reload some stuff. And let's these all look good here. So if I say a note here that says build a Docker file for using Alpine Linux, what do we get? So from Alpine latest. Now we don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to CP this phrase thing into the tiny CLI here. And next up, what do we do? So we can basically build out a Docker file that includes all this stuff in here. So we can say, copy the bash script, the container, copy, and we can rename this. So we can call this phrase. No, I think I want to look. I want to look at a different repo. But let's see if we can find some stuff from Alpine. Let's take a look at this. So Alpine Linux, how do we use it? Use it like you'd use any other image. This looks pretty good. Alpine. So we can put a note here. We can put like a little README inside of this. So we can go into phrase or into tiny CLI. We can have to README, make some notes about this, and we can say like, how to real quick. And there we go. Docker. And we can say build from Alpine Linux. Alpine Linux. Now, the question is that I have an example in another repo. Let's pull it up. We can say tiny. Maybe it's in another organization. We can go here. Let's pull this up. Tiny, or I think it's in AWS. I have something called Assimilate AWS, and inside I have a small tiny container. There we go. So this is what I was looking for. We need something like this. Let's look at this. So wow, really simple. I just didn't want to have to recreate something I had already done previously. So this looks good. So let's and I can even put a note here that says do. So it's going to look, in this case, will be the phrase here. And it looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. So let's go here. Say from apt apk update and apk add bash. Copy this inside. Now, I believe the only other thing I need to do, let's go to this README, is to step one, say docker build dot like that. And this will build the container. So let's do that. And we can say docker build. And hopefully it's extremely fast to build this. Perfect. Now we can do docker image ls to check it out. Docker image ls. Let's try that. Here we go. And then you can say docker run -it, and we can also do the name of the image. We can also do the name of the image here, which will allow us to just shell in. And so we would do, in this case, this. So let's try that out. There we go. We go here. We have phrase /phrase foo. It's going to say -c. It's going to say -c 3 -p foo. Well, let's see. It still worked, but I don't know why it's telling me there's a problem with that code on line 18. If phrase, if help. Not sure why there's a bug there, but it still worked though, which is weird. Missing line 18. It's really can be super tricky to debug to debug bash help. Okay. Phrase. Huh. Anything missing. Let's see what if I Google this. What does that even mean? Let's see if I can debug that. Having trouble. Yeah, there we go. This is the one. Oh, you need a space between the shared and the oh, really? Okay. Oh, there you go. Look at that. That looks like the issue. So silly because it still works. Now I'm gonna have to exit this, and now there is something that I think would be kind of cool, which is that I'm gonna look at another project that I had recently done that I was using actually TensorFlow, and if I go to Docker run, yeah, see this, I I believe RM means it just deletes it each time, which I like, which I think this is what I need, um, is RM. We need this, I think. Docker run, Docker run. And if I name the container, what does that flag do with Docker? Docker RM, what does this do? Move one or more containers. So this removes the container. Force. So I think this just means that it never stores it. It just does it on the fly, I think. So let's try that. So let's just say go ahead and say Docker build again. There'll be a new one. And then we'll say image ls. You want the second one here. And then we're going to do this. Let's see if that works. There's help. See count 4. Foo. There you go. I fixed that bug. So that's cool. So I should also fix the bug in the other code here, which was that. There you go. So what else could we do though? Is couldn't I pass this in? I exit this. Couldn't I pass it in as I would forget how to do this. Is it slash bin bash? Does that work? Oh, there we go. So I could also just run the entire thing inside of this container. So that's a pretty cool concept. Is to basically take my bash code here, and in fact, you can just say like run it all, right? And this is pretty slick, right? Because I just built this really tiny Docker file here, and in fact, we can check out how big it is. Docker image ls. It is only 11 megs. And I could just package this little container and just give it to people, push it to Docker Hub, push it to somebody, or even just give it to somebody and just say, "Oh yeah, here's the one-liner in order to run it." I think this is quite nice. Now let's be a little trickier here, because one thing that you can do that's actually kind of an interesting concept is that um, if I also, so we have this hello world here, for example. This is kind of a tricky thing to do, but if I go to the README file and I say like invoke Docker, the volume mount, what I can do is I can, again, look at my other example here. It would be something like this. Let's take this command and just tweak it. So what this would do is I could take a container and take the current working directory like that. And let's take the name of the image. Well, first of all, let's remove this old image because I don't need it. Docker image. F. Okay, so delete that one. But it basically, I can take this image here, I can put it there, and I can do the same command that I did earlier. And this is what's kind of tricky about this is that I could run the hello world because I can mount it into my new container. So let's check this out. So if I said this bin bash tmp hello world, so I can take this file, mount it in my Alpine container, and then run it. So let's try that out. If we go here like this, error from, could not, I don't need GPUs. That's the problem. We don't need that. That's a superfluous flag. Okay, go through here. There we go. Dash, is it dash T? So let's just take this command here and let's do this. No such file or directory. Oh, because it's not temp. Well, let's just go in there and let's see what's in there. So if I go in here, look. I see. Huh. Yeah, I don't know actually. But what happens if I go into temp? Temp. Well, that's a good thing to play around with. Is how do I actually? This would be good for lesson 4. Is say broken. Okay. Broken here. So fix volume mount. So for next time, fix volume mount. There we go. So that's good. We got a lot of fun little Docker things done today that work with Bash, and I think that's one of the best ways to learn Bash. Actually, is to actually play around with Docker. So let's go ahead and get status up here. Check this in. Git add star git commit adding bash docker config. All right, got a tiny container working. Okay, see you back in a couple weeks.